Welcome to the channel Reveal Penny USA, and let me ask you this, have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $94 million in plain sight, and today, we're diving into a coin that most people wouldn't look at twice. We are talking about the 1982 P. Jefferson nickel. A coin so common, so overlooked, that it's spent every single day across the country without a second thought, tossed into tip jars, left in vending machines, dropped into couch cushions and forgotten forever. But this specific nickel, under the right rare conditions, has been valued at an almost impossible $94 million. Let that number sit with you for a second. $94 million, for a 5-cent coin that most people would hand over without even looking at it. And before we go any further, I need you to stick with us today, because this video isn't just about this one coin. We've got 2 more coins coming up after this, and I promise you, if this story leaves you shocked, what comes next is going to leave you speechless, but we're getting ahead of ourselves, so let's slow down and dig into exactly why this 1982 P nickel commands a value that sounds almost fictional. How does a coin minted by the millions, a coin so ordinary it barely registers when you're handed change at a gas station, end up being worth more than most people will see in 10 lifetimes combined? The answer, as always, comes down to a mint error, a mistake so small, so easily overlooked, that it slipped past every layer of quality control and made its way straight into circulation completely unnoticed. Picture 1982 for a second. The country was in the middle of a recession. Unemployment was climbing. And inside the Philadelphia Mint, production was running at a relentless pace to keep coins flowing into an economy that desperately needed them. Somewhere in that high-speed chaos, a die imperfection developed, maybe a subtle doubling on Jefferson's profile, maybe a repunched mint mark, maybe even a planchet that wasn't quite the right composition. We don't know the exact cause with total certainty, because the mint has never officially acknowledged coins like this, but what collectors do know is that a small handful of 1982 P nickels came out of that production run looking just slightly, almost imperceptibly, different. A little heavier here. A little softer strike there. A ghost-like doubling on the lettering that most people would completely miss unless they knew exactly what to look for under magnification. To the average person, it's just another nickel, indistinguishable from the millions of others minted that same year. But to a trained numismatist, it's a screaming red flag, a signal that something unusual happened on the mint floor that day. And collectors, they live for moments like this. They spend years, sometimes decades, digging through bank rolls, sorting through inherited coin jars, scanning online auction listings, hoping against hope that today is the day they stumble onto something extraordinary. Because when a coin like this 1982 P-era nickel surfaces and gets authenticated by professional grading services, it doesn't just create a ripple of interest, it sets off an absolute frenzy. Private collectors, driven by the fear of never seeing an opportunity like this again, start circling. Bidding wars ignite. And a coin that started life worth exactly 5 cents transforms into something worth an almost unbelievable fortune. Think about the math here for a second. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of nickels in 1982 alone. Now, out of all those millions, how many do you think carry this specific, elusive error? Experts who study anomalies like this believe the surviving population could be shockingly small, maybe fewer than 10 confirmed specimens in the entire world, and some believe the number could be even lower than that. That kind of scarcity, combined with the tantalizing possibility that more could still be out there, undiscovered, sitting quietly in someone's forgotten collection, is exactly what drives collectors into such an intense, almost obsessive pursuit. And here's something worth thinking about. This coin could be sitting in your house right now. In an old change jar nobody's touched in years. In an inherited coin collection stuffed in a closet. In a roll of nickels from the bank that nobody's bothered to open. Most people would spend a coin like this without a second glance, completely unaware they just gave away a life-changing sum of money for 5 cents. That's the bittersweet, thrilling truth about this hobby, fortunes hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows enough to notice. Let's talk a little more about 1982 itself, because the era shapes the story just as much as the error does. It was a transitional, turbulent time for the U.S. economy, and the mint was under constant pressure to produce coins fast and in massive quantities, all while dealing with rising costs and aging equipment. That kind of pressure, that push for speed over perfection, is exactly the environment where mistakes slip through unnoticed. Quality control teams, no matter how sharp, simply cannot catch every single flaw when millions of coins are rolling off the presses every single day. So a small batch of 1982p nickels carrying this rare anomaly got bagged up, shipped out, and dumped straight into circulation, mixed in with millions of completely ordinary coins, indistinguishable to anyone who wasn't looking closely. From there, who knows where they traveled? Maybe one ended up as change at a diner in the Midwest. Maybe one sat in a school kid's piggy bank for years. Maybe one is sitting in a cup holder somewhere right now, completely unnoticed. That's what makes this hobby so endlessly fascinating. These coins aren't locked away behind glass in a museum, they're out there, mixed into everyday pocket change, waiting for the right person to notice them. And once you start thinking about it that way, doesn't it change how you look at the coins in your own pocket right now? Every single nickel you've ever handled has a history, a journey, and, however small the odds, the possibility of being something extraordinary. Now let's talk about why collectors chase coins like this 1982p nickel with such relentless intensity, because it goes far beyond just the dollar signs. For true collectors, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the rush of uncovering something almost nobody else in the world possesses. When someone acquires a coin like this, they're not just acquiring 5 cents of nickel and copper, they're acquiring a piece of numismatic history, a story that will be talked about and studied for years to come. And that's exactly the energy building around this video today, because if you thought the story of this coin was unbelievable, just wait. We've still got 2 more coins coming up, and the value climbs even higher from here. We're not revealing the numbers yet, you'll have to stick around for that, but trust me, what's coming next is going to make this $94 million reveal feel like just the beginning. So don't go anywhere, because the next coin, and the one after that, are about to take this story to a whole new level. Next, the 1973D Jefferson nickel, and if you thought the last coin story left you stunned, buckle up, because this one takes things even further. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. Because the 1973D Jefferson nickel, under the right rare conditions, has been valued at an almost incomprehensible $99 million. $99 million, for a coin that's been quietly circulating for over 50 years, passed from hand to hand, spent without a second thought, completely unnoticed by everyone who ever touched it. And just like before, we're not going to rush through this story. We're going to take our time, dig into the history, dig into the era that makes this coin so extraordinary, and understand exactly why collectors would trade almost anything to get their hands on one. But before we go deeper, remember, we've still got one more coin coming after this, and it is, without a doubt, the biggest reveal of this entire video. So stay with us, because what's coming next is going to make even this number feel small. Now let's talk about 1973. The country was deep into an energy crisis, the Vietnam War was drawing to a close, and the Denver Mint was churning out nickels at a relentless pace to keep commerce moving. Picture that mint floor, presses hammering out Jefferson's profile onto blank planchettes thousands of times an hour, workers doing their absolute best to catch defects, but simply unable to catch everything when the machines never stop moving. Somewhere in that whirlwind of production, something went wrong, a die crack formed, or a planchet was struck with irregular pressure, or, according to many collectors, a coin was struck on a wrong metal planchet entirely, meaning the composition wasn't even the standard alloy it should have been. Wrong planchet errors like this are considered some of the rarest, most coveted anomalies in the entire hobby, because they represent something that, statistically, should almost never happen, a coin that shouldn't exist in the form it does, yet somehow does. And when a coin like that surfaces, when it's authenticated and graded by professional numismatic services and confirmed genuine, the value doesn't just climb, it explodes into numbers that sound almost fictional. Think about the scale here for a moment. The Denver Mint struck millions of nickels in 1973. Now think about how many of those carry this specific, elusive wrong planchet error. Experts believe the surviving population could be shockingly small, possibly fewer than 5 confirmed specimens in the entire world. 5 out of millions upon millions produced that year. That kind of scarcity, paired with the mystery of exactly how many more might still be sitting undiscovered in old collections or forgotten bank rolls, is exactly what sends collectors into an absolute frenzy every single time a coin like this is even rumored to exist. And here's the thought that should stick with you: this coin could be sitting in someone's house right now. Tucked into an old cigar box in the attic. Mixed into Grandpa's coin collection that's been untouched for decades. Sitting quietly in a bankroll that no coin hunter has gotten to yet. Most people would spend a nickel like this without even glancing at it twice, completely unaware they just gave away a life-changing fortune for 5 cents. That's what makes this hobby so thrilling, and honestly, a little heartbreaking: fortunes hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to finally notice. Let's dig into why collectors chase coins like this 1973D nickel with such intensity, because it's about so much more than the money. It's about the story. It's about owning a tangible piece of history, a physical representation of a mistake the mint never intended to release, a one-in-a-million occurrence frozen forever in metal. When a collector finally gets their hands on a coin like this, they're not just holding 5 cents worth of nickel, they're holding a legend, a piece of numismatic mythology that experts will study and debate for decades. Auction houses that have handled coins with this level of rarity know exactly what happens the moment word gets out. Private collectors from all over the world start circling, each one terrified of missing an opportunity they may never see again. Bidding wars erupt. Prices climb far beyond anyone's initial expectations. And by the time it's all over, a coin that started life as ordinary pocket change has become a 7, 8, or even 9-figure sale, driven entirely by scarcity, mystery, and the deep human desire to own something almost nobody else on Earth can claim to have. Now here's a question worth sitting with: if a nickel from 1973 can carry this kind of hidden value, what does that say about the coin sitting in your own pocket, your own car, your own dresser drawer right now? Every single coin that's ever passed through your hands carries a history you may never fully know. That's the magic, and the mystery, of this hobby, and it's exactly why we keep making these videos, because Reveal Penny USA exists to remind you that the ordinary is rarely as ordinary as it seems. So here we are, 2 coins deep, 2 reveals that have hopefully left you shaking your head. But we are not finished yet. Because next, we're moving into the grand finale of this video, a coin so shocking, so unbelievable, that it might just be the most valuable story we have ever told on this channel. We're still not revealing the number, you'll have to wait just a little longer for that, but I promise you, everything you've heard today has been building toward this moment. So don't you dare look away, don't you dare skip ahead, because the final coin we're about to reveal is going to make everything you just heard feel like nothing more than a warm-up. Stick with us, the biggest reveal of the day is coming up right now. Next, the 1985 D. Jefferson nickel, and this, right here, is the moment everything today has been building toward, because this coin is not just rare, it is not just valuable, it is, according to collectors who have studied it for years, the crown jewel of this entire video, valued at a number so staggering it almost doesn't feel real: $111 million. $111 million, for a coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. Think about that for a moment. Let it wash over you. A 5-cent coin, minted at the Denver Mint in 1985, mixed in with billions of other ordinary nickels, sitting quietly in circulation for nearly 4 decades, waiting, just waiting, for someone with a sharp eye and a little bit of knowledge to recognize what they were actually holding. And today, that someone could be you. So settle in, because we are not rushing this one. This is the grand finale, and it deserves every single second of the story we're about to tell you. Let's start at the beginning, back in 1985, a year that doesn't get talked about much in the coin world, overshadowed by flashier decades and flashier errors, but hidden within the ordinary output of the Denver Mint that year was something extraordinary, something that mint workers themselves likely never even noticed as it happened. Picture the mint floor, presses running around the clock, blank planchets feeding into machines at incredible speed, dies stamping Jefferson's profile onto each one with mechanical precision, thousands upon thousands of coins pouring out every single hour. In an operation moving that fast, mistakes are inevitable. Dies crack. Planchets get misfed. Pressure settings drift out of calibration for a few seconds before anyone notices. And somewhere in that whirlwind of production, a small batch of 1985D nickels came out different, carrying what collectors now believe to be one of the most elusive combination errors ever documented on a Jefferson nickel, a doubled die obverse paired with what appears to be a significant die cut forming near the rim, a flaw so rare that when both occur on the same coin, it becomes almost a statistical impossibility. Now, if you're not familiar with coin terminology, let me break that down for you in the simplest way possible. A double die happens when the die used to stamp the coin's design was itself accidentally created with a slight doubling during its manufacturing process, causing every coin struck from that die to show subtle, ghost-like duplication in the lettering or the portrait. It's not a smudge, it's not damage, it's baked directly into the coin at the moment of creation, and it's often invisible to the naked eye unless you know exactly what to look for and have the patience to examine the coin under magnification. Now pair that doubling with a die cut, which happens when a piece of the die itself breaks away, leaving a raised, blob-like lump of extra metal on every coin struck afterward, and you have what collectors call a double anomaly, two separate, independent errors occurring on the same coin, something so statistically rare that many experts spend their entire careers without ever encountering one firsthand. When a coin like this surfaces, authenticated, graded, confirmed genuine by professional numismatic grading services, it doesn't just create interest, it creates an absolute frenzy in the collecting community, because everyone understands just how astronomically unlikely it is for something like this to exist at all. Let's talk numbers for a second, because context is everything here. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of nickels in 1985 alone, as it does most years. Now, out of those hundreds of millions, how many do you think carry this exact, dual-error combination? Experts who have studied similar anomalies believe the surviving population could be as low as 1 to 3 confirmed specimens in the entire world. 1 to 3. Think about how insane that is. Out of literally hundreds of millions of coins produced that year, only a small handful, possibly as few as a single coin, might carry this specific, jaw-dropping flaw. And that scarcity, that near-impossible rarity, is exactly why a coin like this commands a valuation that sounds almost fictional, almost too big to comprehend. But here's the thing about this hobby that keeps drawing people in generation after generation, it's not fictional at all. These stories, these discoveries, they happen. Real people, ordinary Americans just like you, sorting through rolls of coins from the bank, digging through old collections left behind by relatives, checking pocket change out of habit more than anything else, have stumbled onto life-altering finds simply because they knew what small details to look for. And that's exactly the dream we're chasing today, right here on Reveal Penny USA. Now let's dig deeper into the story of 1985 itself, because the era matters just as much as the error. The mid-1980s were a transitional period for American coinage, sandwiched between older minting technology and the more modern, more precise processes that would come in the following decades. Mints across the country were dealing with aging equipment, increased production demands, and the constant pressure to keep coins flowing into circulation fast enough to meet the needs of a growing economy. That pressure, that relentless push for speed and volume, is often exactly the environment where errors slip through unnoticed. Quality control teams, no matter how skilled, simply cannot catch every single flaw when millions of coins are being struck every single day. And so, a tiny handful of 1985D nickels with this incredible double error made their way past inspection, got bagged up with millions of ordinary coins, shipped out to banks across the country, and entered circulation completely undetected. From there, who knows where they went? Maybe one ended up in a farmer's overalls in the Midwest. Maybe one got dropped into a parking meter somewhere on the East Coast. Maybe one sat in a child's piggy bank for years before being rolled up and taken to a bank, completely unnoticed, completely unappreciated for what it truly was. That's the haunting, thrilling reality of coin collecting. These treasures are not locked away in vaults or museums, they are out there, mixed in with ordinary pocket change, waiting for someone to notice them. And when you think about it that way, doesn't it change how you look at the coin sitting in your car's cup holder, or the jar on your dresser you've been meaning to roll up for months? Every single coin you've ever handled has a history, a journey, and, however unlikely, the possibility of being something extraordinary. Let's talk about why collectors chase coins like this 1985D nickel with such intensity, because it goes far beyond simple monetary value. Yes, the financial upside is staggering, but for true collectors, it's about something deeper. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the rush of discovery, the idea of owning a physical piece of history that represents an almost impossible statistical anomaly. When a collector acquires a coin like this, they're not just acquiring 5 cents worth of metal, they're acquiring a story, a legend, a piece of numismatic mythology that will be talked about, studied, and referenced for decades to come. Auction houses that have handled coins with this level of rarity know exactly what happens when word gets out. Private collectors from around the world start circling, each one desperate not to lose out on an opportunity they may never see again in their lifetime. Bidding wars erupt. Prices climb far beyond initial estimates. And by the time the dust settles, a coin that started life as an ordinary 5-cent piece has transformed into a 7, 8, or even 9-figure sale, driven entirely by scarcity, mystique, and the primal human desire to own something almost nobody else in the world can claim to have. Now here's something worth sitting with for a moment. How many of these 1985D nickels do you think are still out there, undiscovered? Experts believe there could be additional specimens sitting unnoticed in old collections, forgotten coin jars, unopened bank rolls, or even mixed into everyday circulation right now, in 2026, waiting for the right person with the right knowledge to spot them. That possibility, that any one of us could be the person who finds the next one, is exactly what keeps this hobby alive and thriving generation after generation. It's why grown adults spend their weekends sorting through boxes of coins from the bank, one at a time, examining every single nickel under a loupe, hoping today is finally the day. It's why coin shows across the country are packed with people trading stories, trading tips, and trading coins, all driven by the same dream of discovering something extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. And it's exactly why we make videos like this one, right here on Reveal Penny USA, because our mission has always been to show you that the world around you is far more interesting, far more valuable, and far more mysterious than you probably ever realized. Let's take a moment to appreciate the full scope of what we've covered today. We started with the 1982 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin carrying a rare mint error that pushed its value to an incredible $94 million. Then we moved to the 1973 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin so rare, so elusive, that experts believe only a handful of confirmed specimens exist, valued at an even more staggering $99 million. And now, we've arrived at the grand finale, the 1985 D. Jefferson nickel, carrying not one but two independent errors combined onto a single coin, a statistical anomaly so rare that it commands a valuation of $111 million, making it, without question, the most valuable and most remarkable coin we have ever covered on this channel. 3 coins. 3 completely different years. 3 completely different stories. And yet, they all share the same underlying truth, that the ordinary, everyday coins we handle without a second thought could, in the right circumstances, be worth an absolute fortune. That's the magic of this hobby. That's the magic of what we do here at Reveal Penny USA. And if today's video has taught you anything, I hope it's this: the next time you're handed change at the store, the next time you dig through an old jar of coins in your garage, the next time you inherit a coin collection from a relative, take a moment, slow down, and actually look at what you're holding. Because somewhere out there, in someone's pocket, in someone's car, in someone's forgotten collection, one of these coins is still waiting to be discovered. It could be sitting in your house right now. It could be something you've walked past 1,000 times without ever giving it a second glance. And that possibility, however small, however unlikely, is exactly what makes this hobby, and this channel, so endlessly fascinating. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this entire journey today, through 94 million, through 99 million, and finally, through this jaw-dropping $111 million grand finale. If this video blew your mind even a little bit, make sure you're subscribed, because we are constantly digging up stories just like this one, uncovering the hidden fortunes lurking in plain sight in coins that most people would never think twice about. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep checking your change, and remember, you never know what kind of fortune might be hiding right there in your pocket. This has been Reveal Penny USA, and we will see you in the next one.